All right, and we are switching things up here from how we normally do things because our resident football librarian, Christian, is out of commission tonight. But all that means is an opportunity to switch things up as we have a new 3-man mock coming at you. It is Pat, Turtle, and Mike. And without further ado, Mike, you have our first pick as the GM of the Las Vegas Raiders for this draft.
Yeah.
Don't tell me. Who's it going to be?
Well, pen, Sharpie, chiseled in stone. They already traded Geno Smith away. It's a formality at this point. Fernando Mendoza, team's top investment for the most important position in football. Going 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to be said. And Christian is not here to overrule that pick. If anybody watched the last mock draft,
He'd be the he would.
Christian basically took Mike's picks and said, "Into the dumpster they go."
He sat me in the corner. He put me in the corner.
He would veto.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I'm handling the picks, some of the picks that Christian would have taken here. But I hate to go chalk with pick number 2, but Arvell Reese makes all the sense in the world here for the Jets. You know, a team that's rebuilding, a team that is stockpiling picks and is looking towards the future. You take the most explosive, fluid athlete in the draft, just tons of upside at a premium position. I think you have to like what you see out of Arvell Reese in terms of the length, the fluidity, the explosiveness, all of it, the untapped potential, playing full-time off the edge. I think there's a lot to like there if you're the Jets. And yeah, that's the pick they make at number 2.
And especially after they brought in Demario Davis too, late in free agency. So be interesting to see. But I think it's a good stockpile.
They also traded Jermaine Johnson, I believe, to the Tennessee Titans. So opens up a spot there on that edge. Seems like obviously first 2 picks from the last draft are the same, but they make all the sense in the world.
Good call.
Cardinals. Do I have the Cardinals or do one of you two?
NFC West, that's you.
That would be me.
It's you, Mike. Yeah,
that would be me. I was tossing up, O lineman out of Miami, Maguire.
Mario.
Yeah, Maguire. I was tossing up him for it, but what I liked was taking Sonny Styles here. This is a good comp for Isaiah Simmons. It's kind of the same kind of player. Looking at this roster, I'm just looking at best player available. If you're the Cardinals, you're rebuilding, from a lot of stuff. I think it's a little too early to pick Jeremiah Love. I think if you want Jeremiah Love, you trade back a little bit. If you want to go that route, they did just bring in Tyler Algier, so I think that changes a little bit of stuff, for the Cardinals. But good rush in the passer. I think Arvell Reese is better than Sonny Styles. I think if Arvell Reese is there, you take him. But I'm looking at best player available. I'm looking at need. I was also thinking O-line, but no, I'm going to go Sonny Styles there.
All right, I think this pick might shock people. But Sonny, it makes a ton of sense. I think the Isaiah Simmons comparison might throw some Cardinals fans. They might be throwing their TV remotes if he gets compared to Isaiah Simmons. But in any case, I love Sonny Styles is an absolute beast. So
right,
maybe a little bit high to take a prototypical linebacker, but he's kind of one of those guys that projects so well that it's a very high floor. I don't see that pick failing in any sense of the form. So
yeah, exactly. Turtle, you kind of took the words out of my mouth when it comes to the athleticism, the measurables. And what he was able to put on tape at Ohio State. If there were an off-ball linebacker to take this high, it would be a guy like Styles, even if that would be a shocker on draft night.
Yeah. With the 2 Ohio State guys going, this is an interesting pick here with the trade for Jermaine Johnson. I was thinking edge. Now I don't know. This just seems like a Brian Daboll pick over it, which is unfortunate for the Giants. This is where I thought the Giants would go. Maybe what's his name? That the bum GM from the Giants.
Gettleman?
What's it? No. The current one.
Oh, Shane.
Oh, Shane. Joe Shane.
Joe Shane. who was lambasted by his fan base for letting Saquon Barkley walk, was maybe going to get an opportunity to redeem himself by taking Jeremiah Love, but not so fast, my friend, because Dayball and the Tennessee Titans have other ideas. I would hate this as a Texans fan because I like Jeremiah Love. I do not want to root against him, but unfortunately, he's arguably the everything from the combine. He is one of the 5 best players in this draft, and boy, I would hate this as a Texans fan if the Titans got Jeremiah Love. But it makes all the sense in the world for them. Tony Pollard. I'm not even sure if I think Tony Pollard may have left, and all you got is Tajay Spears, and I don't think Tajay Spears is a reason to not draft, and what in my opinion is one of the top 5 players in this draft class. So Jeremiah Love of the Tennessee Titans, and I'm any qualms or concerns there with that pick?
No, and they still have Tony Pollard, and I think that there's no way he's keeping the RB1 spot if they go there. So I like that pick for him.
Well, and the other thing about it is that for a young quarterback who's kind of on his rookie year 2.0, for a guy like Cam Ward with a new offensive system, the best friend to that quarterback is going to be a great run game. And taking a guy like Jeremiah Love can catch passes out of the backfield, can be a bell cow running back, and can kind of take a lot of that pressure off of Cam Ward. And that offensive line at some level will do wonders for him. So I do think that would be a solid pick for the Titans if they don't want to go on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and I think I'm up again here. And there's a lot of different routes that Giants can go here. I think it's unfortunate. I think they would go Jeremiah Love, but he didn't go 4. Now you're kind of looking at a spot where I almost think they would maybe consider a trade down, but since we're not doing trades here, listen, some people might, I don't know, I don't think people would characterize this as a reach, but with Malik Neighbors' health still up in the air, you've got I'm kind of between Muaga or Carnell Tate. One of these picks has to help your new franchise quarterback. And I think they're going to go with Carnell Tate. They're going to get somebody opposite of Neighbors. They're going to address the lack of depth. I think they have at receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, who I know was just a slot guy, but you're talking about a guy that caught a lot of balls last year at over 1,000 yards receiving. He departs in free agency. You've got to find somebody who's solid to fill that gap. And I like Carnell Tate as far as the down the field ability as well. I think that opens up things in their offense. I think you can make an argument for Moaga because they do need a guard, and he's somebody who can kick into guard. But Carnell Tate, as first wide receiver off the board, I still think fills a need for the Giants and helps your franchise quarterback in dart.
And you think about how they acquired Isaiah Likely, too, to be that second option for them over the middle of the field. So being able to take a guy like Carnell Tate allows you to attack each element of the field. When you talk about having Malik Neighbors on one side, Carnell Tate on the opposite side, and then Isaiah Likely up the middle, you're giving Jackson Dart plenty of options.
And you don't know what type of health Malik Neighbors is going to come back. And with somebody with an injury like that, it wasn't just a clean ACL tear. It was meniscus and some other stuff done. Typically that ramp-up period for that type of injury can leak into the next season. Not saying he won't be out there on the field, but as far as production and explosiveness and kind of getting your feet back wet, that productivity dip could last in the first 6 to 8 weeks of the year. You need some guys to fill that gap. So,
yep. And now for Mike's Browns, as I am the current Andrew Berry of the day, when you have the offensive line set up the way it is, you've got Titus Howard, right tackle. You've re-signed Tevin Jenkins to be your right guard. Elton Jenkins, you bring in a former Pro Bowler at center, and then Zion Johnson at left guard. It feels like you have a ready-to-go, above-average offensive line that you've rebuilt strictly through free agency. And I think the best route to go for the Browns would be to take that left tackle, take the true left tackle, and the only true left tackle projected this high in the draft, go with Monroe Freeling. You talk about an athletic freak for his size. He's 6'7", well over 300 pounds, but moves much lighter than that. And, can pass block, can run block, can get off the ball and handle speed rushers and power rushers. The question is, can he put it all together on a consistent basis? And being surrounded by a veteran offensive line of top-tier talent that the Browns now have brought in, I think that would be the space for him to develop and grow into that future cornerstone left tackle. I think this is the time for the Browns to go ahead and make that move.
Rare size and functional length is what I kind of get from him, and I think that's exactly what you need. Whoever's going to be back there, either passing the ball, and then obviously whoever you're going to have running the ball out of the backfield. I really like it, Pat. I think it absolutely shores up, a spot where we have a gaping hole in who is going to be that next left tackle. And yeah, I like that pick for the Browns.
All right, and so we're moving on here, and you got some shockingly some edge rushers that I think people maybe had going earlier that are now falling here with David Bailey and Reuben Bain Jr. For the Commanders, listen, this was a defense that was getting snaps of Von Miller at the end of the year, kind of seemed to lack some burst up front. Kind of a coin flip between these two guys, but for me, who I think is the better prospect despite his arm length, I think the Commanders are going to go Reuben Bain Jr. here. Listen, the arm length concerns I think are well documented, but let's be frank, he's shown on tape that he with the amount of torque that he plays with the leverage that he plays, similar to a wrestler in some respects, he's able to negate the lack of arm length to be a productive player. And I think at the end of the day, when you watch the tape, it doesn't seem to really matter all that much. That his arms are small. I think he still gets the job done. He's productive. He's explosive. Every other measurable checks the box. Mm-hmm. He's bigger than David Bailey and probably, in my opinion, a better scheme fit for the 4-3 that Dan Quinn likes to run. He's a true edge. I think David Bailey being a little bit smaller, just not the type of build that I think Dan Quinn would want. So I'm going to go Reuben Bain. And again, you guys can maybe talk me out of it and say Bailey would have been a better pick there, but I think Reuben Bain's the better player.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with the tape that Reuben Bain was putting out there towards the end of the season, right? I mean, and that's where I'll leave it at. I mean, you talk about the angles that he's able to take, just the sheer power that he's able to generate despite the arm length concerns, and he just feels like a guy who you can play him. You could play him on the outside. Once he puts on a little more NFL weight, you could maybe shift him inside a little bit and do a couple different things with him along that defensive line that can shore up some of those concerns about the arm length. So I don't know what you were going to say, Mike, but I can't argue with taking Reuben Bain anywhere in the top 10, really.
And in terms of just a disruptor, like at the point of attack, off the line, just vicious. So, yeah, no, I like it. I like David Bailey too. But I think Reuben Bain is, in terms of sheer pressure, getting forward and getting into the backfield. Yeah. Reuben Bain is my guy too.
So moving on then to the New Orleans Saints, who are another team that's rebuilding. They feel like they found their quarterback in Tyler Shuck, I think, at least for the moment. And so at this point, you're just trying to add best player available. And right now, I think that very clearly is David Bailey. They need some juice along the defensive line. And when you talk about the explosiveness of a guy like Bailey and what he was able to do at Texas Tech this past year, you talk about 14 and a half sacks, almost 20 tackles for loss, and just a freakishly explosive edge rusher right now. I mean, there's some questions as to how he's going to hold up in the run game, but at this point, when you talk about the pass rushing upside of a guy like David Bailey, he has all pro potential. And if you can get him this late at pick 8 in the draft, I think if you're New Orleans, you run that card up to the podium.
Yeah. And looking at how this draft fell down, I was thinking Mansour Delane, but right now you're talking about a Chiefs secondary. They just traded Trent McDuffie. That is their biggest need right now. Reuben Bain was on the short list for me as well. Delane was there. You're taking an important position right now. If Jeremiah Love is still there, maybe you make the reach for him. But you also got the first round pick. With trading Trent McDuffie to the Rams. So for me, I'm looking at just biggest need of a position, and you can get the best player still on the board for you at that. You're going Caleb Downs right here at 9 for the Chiefs.
Interesting. mean, again, I don't hate it.
I didn't even think I didn't think he would be here. So I
Yeah,
was thinking Delane, and he's still there. Yeah. I mean, the whole secondary.
Muaga too. I mean, they
Yeah.
need a tackle as well. But I mean, as far as you talk about, this kind of seems like a free ball pick for the Chiefs, right? A team that's normally in contention. Why not take the most talented player left on the board? Caleb Downs will see the field. There's no doubt about that. And quite frankly, I haven't taken a look at the Chiefs depth chart, but I don't think they've got any locks at the safety position that where you can't find a place for Caleb Downs to get in there and start right away. I know there were the concerns about his degenerative ACL or and whatnot, the health concerns. I think that was mostly written off at this point. I think if the Chiefs really view that as a free ball pick, like we're never going to be picking this high in the draft anytime soon again, taking the most talented player left in the board is, I think, a good dice roll.
And the Bengals also did just get Brian Cook off the former Chief, who they just paid $40 million to be their safety. So I feel like, I mean, whatever the Bengals are going to do, that doesn't matter to the Chiefs. But I was just looking at best player available for a position that they do need. And they do need to shore up offensive line. But, we'll see. I think if Caleb Downs is there, hard to pass him up.
Well, it's the Chiefs didn't take Caleb Downs there. He was going to go at my pick here at 10. That's for sure, because I think the Bengals could use any help in the second.
That's my pick.
Oh, is it?
Steal my pick. You're stealing my take too. You took the word.
Dude, listen here. I'm in the role of Christian right now, and it's rubbing off on me. All right, I'm just hijacking the entire.
Hey, there would have been no argument there because if you wanted to take that pick for me, I would have totally agreed because that would have been the pick at 10 for me as Cincinnati Bengals. I'd be curious to hear where you'd go now because I know that Bengals fans would be pissed if this is how.
Too late. I know that's on your dime now.
Right, if they were this close.
Yeah.
Here's my thing is, and I'm an Alabama guy through and through. Jordan Battle has put out some of the worst tape, and is just like begging to say bench me, put somebody over me here, give this Bengals defense the juice that it just doesn't have. Maybe this is overdrafting, I don't know, but if you can't get Downs, give me Thieneman at 10. This could be drafted high, but this guy is rocketing up boards right now. Just explosive freak, plays at an incredibly high level, great instincts, good ball skills, can play over the middle of the field for this Bengals team in a role, is willing to come up and hit in a way that I just didn't see from Jordan Battle more recently. And so if you can't get Downs, give me Thieneman and let's roll if you're the Bengals.
No, secondary had bad tackling issues last year. Like you were talking explosive plays that happened because you couldn't get the guy down right away. That's a great pick right there, Pat, especially for that specific need of what was.
I don't know how much if I expect two safeties to go in the top 10, but it's certainly an interesting mock exercise.
No, I mean Thieneman's a great player. I mean, if Caleb Downs wasn't in this draft class, I mean, you're talking about easily the best safety. And yeah, typically don't see safeties go this high, but the Bengals need help at that position so badly that I think, maybe, you're probably picking a safety 7 to 10 spots too high, but I think the talent and the need align well there. So
fair enough.
And we're looking right here at the Miami Dolphins, and right. I mean, it's just right. It's right in front of you of exactly what their need is, and that's going to be addressing the offensive line. And that was the biggest issue last year. It was the biggest issue in terms of how much time Tua Tagovailoa had back there. It honestly, with how he played quarterback, you drove Tyreek Hill basically out of town with just how pissed off he gets about the entire situation. How do you fix that? You go offensive line here. And I was tossing it up between Spencer Fano, but no, we're gonna stay home. You're gonna take the guy out of Miami, Francis Mauigoa. I had to
Nicely done.
But Francis Mauigoa, no, I mean, someone who's going to be stout. You just pick the guy who's going to be your tackle for 12 years. Coaches come and go. You're going to have a whole new system coming into next year. What's going to be most important is protecting the guy that you just paid last year or 2 years ago to, be your quarterback and reestablishing your run game. What's going to happen with the new scheme? It will be different. What's going to be steady, though, is you pick, Francis Mauigoa and you shore up that offensive line, which was a major issue, probably the biggest issue for the Miami Dolphins last year.
Yeah, I mean, I've got no qualms or concerns with that pick. I think Mauigoa is a good player, and the Dolphins are in a spot where, honestly, they need help at everything. And you just signed a quarterback in Malik Willis to a lot of guaranteed money. You got to give him the best chance to succeed. Taking a tackle is not a bad bet there.
Yeah, it feels like a dream for the Dolphins to be able to keep him in town.
Yeah, no doubt. Because that's a guy I think could go in the top 10, and I don't think anybody would be surprised. So getting him at 11 is a good spot. Now, time for America's team, the Cowboys. Listen, you still have your top two corners on the board. I think you guys could have probably guessed I was going to gravitate towards that sort of realm. Not going to lie, the Mekhi Lemon or Jordan Tyson here that with Crazy Jerry, like the Green Goblin mask could be speaking to him because he loves to. Yeah. You could absolutely love to take a wide receiver with George Pickens on the franchise tag. You don't know if he will be in Dallas long term, but I think that your DBs still need too much help. And I'm going to go with Jermod McCoy here just because he's my top corner in the draft. I think the gap between him and Mansour Delane is not large. And obviously Jermod McCoy has the health issue, did not test at the combine. But as far as talent goes, he's the best corner in the draft. I think that's where the Cowboys will gravitate towards. And yeah, I mean, kind of a coin flip between him and Mansour, but I still think Jermod McCoy edges out slightly in that regard. But I wouldn't be surprised to see if they took Mansour Delane either.
Yeah. Pat, can you go to wide receivers for this pick just so the people at home it's me. So the people at home can see what we're looking at on the board. Now I'm looking at what is the biggest need for the Los Angeles Rams, who just had that kind of run last year. Career year for Matthew Stafford. Right here to me, it's you're looking at playmakers. I think they actually do have how everything is set up for Sean McVay and this offense. I mean, the top need going into this draft was going to be secondary. Then they obviously go trade for Trent McDuffie, signed Jalen Wilson, and re-signed Cameron Kroll. Thieneman was sitting there. I did kind of like that pick, but I'm thinking, what do you need when you are the Los Angeles Rams and you want to go after it? And honestly, you're looking at it, and Puka Nacua is, your top and only really, legitimate weapon on the outside that Matthew Stafford is absolutely peppering with targets. So right here,
Devontae.
Well, okay, yeah,
but he's not long for the Rams, so I see where you're going.
Yeah. So you're gonna want his replacement at some point, and I'm torn between it. I love Jordan Tyson, but for me, Mekhi Lemon is the guy that you're gonna go. That I think the Rams go with here. They shored up.
Keep him in town.
Yeah, keep him in town. I think it works out. And the one thing, I wouldn't overly, disagree. There is you do have to worry a little bit about, the injuries with Mekhi Lemon and, what the history. I still like him here for the Rams, though. I think it's a good pick. I think that gives you I don't think you walk away mad with either of those two picks, but you definitely go with a playmaker if you're the Rams on this one.
Did you think about Kenyon Sadiq? I know they spent high draft capital on Terrence Ferguson last year in the second round, and they obviously they last year they utilized a 3 tight ends more than any other team in the league. Did you think about if you were adding a playmaker? Did Kenyon Sadiq cross your mind as
It
somebody that they would
it
they
did
would think got
because
there?
it did because I mean Sean McVay and just how what they do. I mean he's a multi tight end kind of scheme, and so that was there. I just feel like Puka, Devontae, and then you go out and get Mekhi Lemon, or honestly, and I mean it could have been Jordan Tyson as well. But I mean, looking at the weaponry you could have in the wide receiver room there, I mean that is good. I like where your head's at though, there, Turtle. I don't think you walk away. I don't think you walk away unpleased with that part. If you were to go tight end, but I just want receiver for him.
Yep. Was just curious what your thoughts were there. AFC North, is that
That's me. Before you try to steal
you.
my pick again,
That's why I asked. That's why
I'll try and make it quick. But it'll be, when you think about the Ravens, I feel evil just sitting here pretending to be the Ravens GM. Just feel like a D-bag a little more, just putting myself in the role. But when you think about the big acquisition that they made of Trey Hendrickson, it's clear that they want to reestablish themselves as a top-flight defense. And when you have a guy like Hendrickson, who's a pass rush specialist, can kind of struggle in the run game, I think a good way to balance that out and to invest long-term in that defensive line would be to go with one of the better edge rushing or better edge setting edge defenders, a guy who can stop the run and has a ton of upside as a pass rusher. Give me Keldrick Falk out of Auburn with this pick.
All right.
You talk about a guy, 6'6", pushing 280, just has all the tools to be a monster to deal with when it comes to stopping the run, and then has some room to grow as a pass rusher. But when you have a true elite pass rush specialist like Trey Hendrickson operating on the opposite side of the line, gives you a little bit more of that room to grow, and certainly a good mentor to help you along and develop that pass rush game.
Yeah, there might be some that think that's pretty high, but I wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens did exactly that. They're clearly prioritizing the edge. That there's no doubt about that. And if
premium position too for a team that wants to be contending.
Yeah, no doubt. And they can lie all they want and say that they were trying to pair Trey Hendrickson and Max Crosby together. Maybe they were, maybe they won't. Maybe they weren't. But in any case, they get the guy opposite of Trey Hendrickson there with Keldrick Falk, and I wouldn't be shocked that that's what they do. So I like the pick.
All right, so then it's moving on.
I'll say one thing for you,
No,
Pat.
go ahead.
Is I was just I was curious to see what you were going to do there, with that pick, being that they just traded, Isaiah Likely to the Giants. I was looking at the board, seeing where maybe you'd fall. Maybe Kenyon Sadiq, tickles your fancy there for him. Draft a replacement, even though you just signed Mark Andrews he's still under the 3-year new contract that he was in. I thought that was maybe where you were, kind of going with, because we did see him do a couple of 2 tight end sets, but I like the Keldrick Fall pick. I think defensive line is absolutely where they need to be looking in this draft.
Right. I think they need to prioritize the defense at the end of the day, and they have the tools on offense to succeed. It's just a matter of now getting that defense back up to snuff to hopefully contend again in the AFC North. Hopefully for them, not for you, Mike. But anyway, moving on to my next pick as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we are going to go with a guy who there's a lot of questions. Really, the only concern with this guy is the age, because he seems to have everything else together when it comes to his pass rush abilities as an edge rusher. Give me Messidor here, Akeem Messidor. I think he's ready-made to be an impact player for a team that you've got, there's obviously he's going to be a 25-year-old rookie, so you're going to need immediate production. But for a team like the Buccaneers, who hopefully are looking to reestablish their dominance in the NFC South next year and trying to contend, whatever that looks like for them, they're not rebuilding. They're not a team that is looking down the line. They have an older quarterback. They have, the pieces on offense to succeed. Now it's a matter of getting juice on the defensive side of the ball, defensive line specifically, and really off that edge. And I think Akeem Messidor is a guy who can do it all as an edge rusher. And again, the main concern is the age. But for a team that wants to be contending immediately, that could be a plus that this guy is ready to play and is seasoned and experienced to make an impact right away.
And
especially
if you're keeping Todd Bowles, I think that's an absolute. You want to reestablish yourself after being right in the hot seat. Yeah, that's a great pick for especially what his scheme is in terms of getting pressure, getting dogs on the defensive line. Then blitzing the front. That's a great pick for it.
No.
Let's give a hat tip to Mike, who when he picked Mesidor in this range last time we did this, he was laughed off the stage by Christian.
I was laughed at.
He was laughed at and was overruled. And now here's Mesidor going to pick 15. Christian is not here to defend himself.
Right.
I wish he was, because he would be taking heat right now. He can't handle it.
Hey, it's more about how the edge class, how this has played out too. There have been a lot of edges that have been flying off the board. But I guess then this is also my pick here at
you're going 3 in a row.
With the Jets, I got 3 in a row. I hope you guys like me a lot here, but this is where I think they go. Kenyon Sadiq would be right here in the Jets for me.
Really?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. With the first pick, they went with a edge rusher, right, at Arvell Reese, or I went with the edge rusher. And at this point now, you go with best player available. In my opinion, that is Kenyon Sadiq. At this point for the Jets, they just need to be getting the most talent that they can in that building and worry about slotting and depth charts later. But give me Kenyon Sadiq, absolute freak as a tight end, can do things that he's more like a wide receiver, so he functions. He kind of fills both roles in that way. I guess it's going to be Geno Smith next season at quarterback, and they're just going to try and eat it if the draft goes the way that we're projecting it to here. You get Kenyon Sadiq, you get him a year under his belt before you bring in a quarterback next year, and then you have Garrett Wilson and Kenyon Sadiq both as established targets for that next quarterback. And you already have the offensive line on both sides, the important positions that both tackles handled with Fashanu and Membu. So yeah, give me Kenyon Sadiq and worry about, team needs and projections later. Just give me that talent.
And they did sign Jeremy Ruckert to an extension last year, to be going into this year. But I don't think that scares you away from taking a playmaker who's, I think, much more of a playmaker in Kenyon Sadiq. Measurables out the wazoo,
right,
for yourself getting a tight end there. No, I think it's a good pick.
Yeah, they spent a 3rd-round pick on Mason Taylor last year, and he was a guy that showed some flashes, but again, I don't think he prevents you from taking Kenyon Sadiq if he's there. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised you didn't go with any of the other guys, just because I
was thinking tackle, but yeah, I think it's a good pick.
Speaking of a team that needs a tackle, the Detroit Lions, who saw Taylor Decker be released, they need a tackle. Again, I'm not sure. This guy projects more as a right tackle. I'm not sure if you could slide Penei Sewell to left tackle, kind of similar to what the Tampa Bay Bucks did with Tristan Wirfs.
There have been discussions about that
a couple years ago
over to left tackle.
But if this guy is still there and they want to move Penei Sewell to left tackle, you can immediately fill your right tackle spot with this guy, Spencer Fanu. Who I think projects is probably the most prototypical right tackle in the draft. I think if the Lions were to actually go through with moving Penei Sewell to left tackle, this would tell us all about their plans. And look, Fanu can slide in and start right away at right tackle. I would be nervous if they drafted Fanu with the thought of playing left tackle. But which I think the best thing for them is probably to slide Penei Sewell to left tackle. You can immediately fill him with that void with the guy on a rookie contract who can come in and contribute right away with Spencer Fanu. Kind of seemed like this kind of just fell in their lap.
I was just saying, at that pick, to get Spencer Fanu right there, yeah, that absolutely.
Definitely. Oh, I'm up again.
Yeah, wow,
so I've got a couple picks here in a row for the Vikings. Oh boy, where to go here, because they just signed Kyler Murray. Talk about an offense that did not have the best quarterback play last year, as we all know. I think they do need some help on defense. Jonathan Grenard is still on the trade block. I haven't seen anything about him possibly being moved, but it doesn't seem like he will be back with the Vikings pending some sort of contract restructure. Um, they spent a pick on Donovan Jackson last year to play guard, so I'm not sure. Um, I don't. I'm going to butcher the Penn State guy's name, Olavega.
Close enough.
Yeah, I don't know if they would necessarily go there, so I'm gonna go with Caleb Banks here. I think he's been the fastest riser as far as interior defensive line is concerned. But they definitely need some help along the front on defense. And I know Grenard's an edge rusher, but Caleb Banks, as far as talent is concerned, I think his motor is an issue at times, but I think with his high end talent, he can come in and start right away, and he could really be a disruptor in the middle. And at pick 18, uh, I don't know if that's as much of a reach as it was once thought it was a couple weeks ago. He's just oozing potential and talent.
He messed his foot up, didn't he, last year? Like I think it may have been mid-season.
Yeah,
It'll depend on what the medicals look like for
Yeah.
what teams see and what risk teams are willing to take. But I mean, it all remains true that, especially after last year, 2024, Caleb Banks looked like he could be a surefire top 10 pick. So
that's a need, and that's a player who fills that need. Absolutely, Turtle. That's a good pick for him.
So I'm in a tough spot now with the Carolina Panthers at 19 here. Let me think. I'm going to go. Give me KC Concepcion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
over KC Jordan Concepcion. Tyson?
Over Jordan Tyson right now. Yeah. Again, it's a matter of questioning the medicals. Could be a high draft pick, but when I look at KC Concepcion and what he's able to do, what he could do in an offense next to a guy like Tet McMillan and how he could fit in with what the Panthers are trying to do, it'll really depend on what wide receivers are available. But in this case, I would think that the Panthers get scared off a little bit by the medicals on Mr. Tyson. But for KC Concepcion, you talk about a shifty athlete, guy with burner speed. You're not going to find any players in this draft that are going to be able to run quite as fast as he can in terms of just straight line speed as a burner. For a team that is looking for all the offensive firepower they can get right now, now that they've solidified their offensive line, they're going to feasibly be or ostensibly be moving forward with Bryce Young. But yeah, give me Concepcion, and we'll see where Tyson falls in this draft. Maybe there's some concerns about his medicals. So
absolutely, I mean he's a Yak guy, and he's from Charlotte. It does kind of make sense. I mean the building blocks are right there. I mean it makes sense for the pick. I like it.
Appreciate it, Mike.
Well, here's the thing about KC Concepcion. I'm not saying that the Panthers won't do this or if it's a bad pick, but he was on the dreaded yards per route run, I would say shit list, like up there with guys like Jalen Reagor and a bunch of former other busts, including the guy they drafted in the first round a couple years ago, and Xavier Legette. So he's on the bad list as far as yards per route run is concerned. Not saying he's going to be a bad player, but it seemed like that metric, kind of correlates to being good or bad in the NFL, and he was on the shit list for that.
Well, I just got your back. I got your back, Pat.
All right, fair enough.
Yak guy. He's a Yak guy.
I'm not saying that it's
Turtle
a bad pick, or I don't think.
He's a Yak.
Yeah, I'm yeah. Anyways, with the Cowboys here, and again, this Jordan Tyson is just Green Goblin mask in full force right now.
Right there. It's right there.
He's right there. I'm between these two guys. I think the smart pick for the Cowboys, and listen, like what I would do is I would probably take CJ Allen. What I think that Jerry is going to do is,
but Mr. Jerry Jones, after a couple of Johnny Walker Blues, is going to do is what you got to pick.
Yeah. And listen, you mentioned the medicals. Here's the final run. I don't see this guy getting past 20 in the draft. I just don't. So I'm going to go with Jordan Tyson here. It may not be the smart pick, but this is the Dallas Cowboys. And listen, it might turn out to be a good pick
Yeah.
because if they let George Pickens walk, they're going to need a number 2 next year, with next to CD. And will they be willing to pay both George Pickens and CD Lamb? I'm not sure they would be. Jerry loves just string stuff like this out, as we know. Um, so why not go and get his replacement this year? He's staring at him like the Green Goblin mask, and I just feel like that's what Jerry's going to do. Would it be what I would do? Probably not. But this is Jerry Jones we're talking about.
I can't argue with that. I mean, Christian did a full veto based on what he thought Jerry would do, but I would never try to put myself in Jerry's shoes and
Christian's
say
not
that
here.
I'm saying I would never try to just
Yeah.
categorically deny that Jerry would take a risk like that or make a move like that. And it does make a ton of sense considering, especially with your second pick, that you end up with Jordan Tyson and he falls into your lap. This feels like the perfect opportunity that Jerry would swing for it after a couple Johnny Walker Blues. So I can't argue with that pick at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we're a couple hours into the draft at this point. So
Right. Oh, he's going to be a little sauced. 100%.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I feel like I'm Jerry Jones.
Yeah, just keep the picks straight. Just hope you got that mock draft going on in the.
I'd lose the envelope and be like, fuck, we traded out. I can't find it.
Oh, I'm gonna forfeit the pick. Well, hopefully, if you're the Steelers, you need every pick you can get right now. With the way that you got Mike McCarthy, you got an expensive aging defense. I think the move here for them is going to be to continue to build along that defensive line. You got Kenneth Grant last year as a 3 technique, but you re-sign Hayward. But I think you still need to be building along that defensive line. They struggled with their run defense. So I think you take the best run-stopping defensive tackle in this draft. You go Caden McDonald here if you're Pittsburgh. So give me Caden McDonald. Just an absolute mammoth at 6'3", 326. The guy's a bowling ball and, can stop the run up the middle. Not a sexy pick by any means, but if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're trying to immediately win next year, which if they're going to be running it back with Aaron Rodgers, they, should be making moves to do that. I think you immediately address your porous run defense by taking maybe the best run-stopping defensive tackle in this draft.
That's a very Steelers pick. That is a very Steelers pick. I'd in no way be shocked if that's the pick.
New defensive coordinator Pat Graham too. That's a very Steelers pick. You took the words right out of my mouth, Turtle. But yeah, no, I think I like that, and I think it absolutely fills a need that they have of a defensive line outside of TJ Watt. That the pressure just was not there, and that's a run stopper. That's a pass rusher. That's a disruptor right up the middle.
Yep. Moving on, is this you, Mike?
The Chargers.
The Chargers.
No, it absolutely is. Can we go to defensive line and see what we got on the board right there? Because I'm looking at biggest need for the Chargers. Yeah.
There's been a run on these guys.
There's been a run. It kind of threw me for a loop. But I was gonna go Caleb Banks. But
he's gone.
Yeah. But what I'm thinking here, no, I know. I was gonna go Caleb Banks. My backup for this pick is Peter Woods. I think you have to look at freak athlete, good combine. You have to heavily invest resources, and they have the 3rd cheapest defensive line. When it comes to the NFL, in terms of who you're paying, you bring somebody in like that. And, you brought in Tyler Biadasz, you brought in Cole Strange in the offseason. So, Alec Ingold, you got a blocking tight end and Charlie Kohler. They've addressed the offensive side of the ball. The issue was they couldn't get any pressure on anybody last year. The defense was what absolutely cost them. And I think right here you maybe think about getting a playmaker, but I'm looking at biggest need when you're the Chargers. It's defensive line. And I mean, Caleb Banks was my number 1 for him, but Yeah, no, give me Peter Woods, and I don't think you walk away too unhappy from that.
I am shocked you did not go Olivia Vega with that pick, just
Yeah.
considering that they lost Mekhi Becton, obviously, which I think is probably more addition by subtraction. He's gone. Um, Zion Johnson also gone.
Johnson, yeah.
They have a whole like guard. I'm a little bit shocked he didn't go Alavega. Um, but hey, I mean, Peter Woods wouldn't surprise me either.
Guard in the first round too. You better feel right about it, and I would feel good
Yeah.
about Vega, but this is just a question of value, and so I have a hard time arguing with taking a guy at a premium position in the first round. And
it's also, I mean, that's a tough team to pick for. I mean, that's your biggest glaring issue is the defensive line. So,
but also to Turtle's point, that Jim Harbaugh is going to make it a priority to address that offensive line. He's certainly not going to allow himself to have a shaky O-line. So I could totally see them going with Vega there as well.
I think they still could in free agency. So, we'll see. But
sure.
For now, I don't think you walk away too unhappy when you get Peter Woods.
Yeah. Right. All right. With the Eagles now, if this is how this plays out, the Eagles Howie is running this pick to the absolute. He's getting up there as fast as he can. Mansour Delane is the pick here.
Mm-hmm.
The Eagles fans are going to be riding in the streets in celebration. They don't have to watch any more Kylie Ringo CB2 snaps. They will be throwing a party that Kylie Ringo
they throw him a parade.
Well, they got Reek Woolen too. They
did get Reek Woolen, but I don't think that Reek Woolen. This is more of just a Howie. This is a best player.
Sure.
This is a guy that could go in the top 15 of the draft that you can get at 23. Yeah,
and Reek Woolen's just a 1-year deal as well. So
and he's not. There's no. Again, I don't think the signing of Reek Woolen stops you from taking somebody like Mansour Delane in the first round. Corner is never a bad position to have depth at. Yeah. I mean, we see that with a lot of teams. You have one guy. I mean, I know you've got Cooper DeJean as your nickel, but outside of Quinyon Mitchell, they do not have players at that position. And God forbid Quinyon Mitchell gets hurt, and you're left with your top corner being Reek Woolen and some scrubs. Like I think that corner is absolutely one of those positions that kind of like tackle, where you have to have at least a third tackle that's serviceable. You have got to have a third outside corner that can come in and not be an absolute sieve. So I still think that's a great pick for the Eagles at 23, if he is indeed there and that's how this plays out.
Yeah, and makes a ton of sense for Howie to get a steal there at
no doubt,
and immediately jump on it for sure. And I appreciate too especially as a Bears fan last season, seeing our secondary get decimated. And if you have just one guy who's severely below replacement level on the back end of your defense, it can just absolutely wreck your game, and he'll get targeted. There are too many good wide receivers in the NFL right now to have scrubs at corner playing. So
if there were trades allowed, I would love for the Texans to trade up there and get Mansour Delane. Not because you have a need at corner. You have such a glaring need for the Texans as like a third corner.
Yeah.
That if he was there at 23 and they traded up and got him, I would obviously last year and saying they were 2 top 10 players at the position, but we saw the brief moment when last year went down last year when Tremont Smith had to come in and Quentin Johnston cooked him for about 95 yards in the span of like 3 plays.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got to have a third corner. It fell right into the Eagles' lap here. That's a ton of value.
That feels like a steal for sure.
Yeah, and absolutely. I mean, that's a unit that cost them games last year. Absolutely,
no doubt.
That's a great pick.
For the Browns here, we've addressed left tackle. I think the next need to target immediately is wide receiver, and we've had quite a few wide receivers come off the board at this point. But Mike, let me know what you think about taking a guy like Omar Cooper here, back end of the first round, and a guy who I think can do everything that you ask. He's not the biggest guy. He's not the fastest guy, but he runs a hell of a route tree, sound technique, and was able to make a ton of plays this year for Indiana. Obviously had that highlight catch that everyone saw against Penn State. And he's a guy who can attack all 3 levels of the field. Can get you some run after catch, and just a guy who I think is a safe pick at wide receiver, is a safe bet to be able to develop into a quality wide receiver. Might not be a wide receiver one, but I think, just a solid floor for a guy like Omar Cooper here for the Browns. You're not trying to contend tomorrow. You just want to build a great offense for your quarterback, whether that's going to be Watson, Sanders, or the mystery man.
Yeah, and that's the hat man pick where everyone thinks we're going to go take a quarterback. I really don't think that should be on our radar yet.
Sure, yeah, I should have built that into that the disclaimer of I don't have them taking Ty Simpson here because I'm trusting you, Mike, as my Browns guy, that the move is going to be to roll with Watson, and if not Watson, they're going to give Shedeur a shot.
They'll give Shedeur a shot. I mean, it's going to be Deshaun Watson to start off, but no, absolutely. I think protection and a playmaker that's how you got to get away in this draft. When you're the Cleveland Browns, get one of the two or address both of them in both of the picks. No, I'm absolutely on board with that, Pat.
Nice.
All right. Well, Pat, I think if the board fell like this, you've got a lot of options here. Geez, I don't even know where to go. Listen, the signing of Kobe Bryant, I think, figures out one safety spot. I know this is Christian's guy right here.
Before you say anything about it, I want to butt in and just say that in his introductory press conference last year, Dennis Allen talked about one guy. He only mentioned one name, and it was Kyler Gordon. And he talked about how versatile Kyler Gordon can be, and specifically that Kyler Gordon needs to learn how to play safety. They haven't signed a safety. There have been a lot of talks about them taking a cornerback. I could see them moving Kyler Gordon back into that safety role from the nickel where he's at right now, and then taking a nickel instead of a safety, or just a corner and figuring out the nickel spot later. But just keep an eye on that. I mean, obviously conventional wisdom is that they'll take a true safety and keep Kyler Gordon where he's at, but just something to consider.
Well, Kobe Bryant fills like the Brisker role, right? Like the strong safety for you guys. He doesn't fill necessarily the free safety spot.
He's pretty they played him everywhere for the Seahawks last year, and that's kind of the hallmark of Dennis Allen's defense is to have those versatile safeties.
Yeah, I mean, I guess conventionalism. I really want to pick Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. I don't know if can Vega play center, or is
that's a good question.
Because I did not expect Vega to be here.
Right.
And listen, if he can play center, this makes this pick super easy.
Jonah Jackson also played center at for the Rams. It went horribly, but Jonah Jackson, who's current right guard, was paid a lot of money to be the Rams center just a year ago. So that's another thing to consider. And I mean, they obviously have Bradbury that they traded for from New England.
Yeah. Well,
but all this to say, go ahead.
All this to say, I'm going to go with C.J. Allen. The cutting of Tremaine Edmonds, I think C.J. Allen is a really, really good linebacker. And this was another position that I think the Bears lack depth in. You might be able to get a safety or a corner a little bit later in the draft that can come in and be your nickel, and you can kind of do the things you talked about. Christian not being here and not taking this guy, I think, would really rub him the wrong way. But to be honest, I thought C.J. Allen would be gone as well. And I think he immediately fills a spot in your defense that, honestly, I mean, Edmonds, like those guys were average players at best. And I think C.J. Allen can be a very good linebacker.
Well, they did sign Devin Bush, and they re-signed DeMarco Jackson, who was, who played as well as any linebacker in the league when he was filled in last year. You'd be really surprised. So I would think with this move, and I could see it happening, if you take a C.J. Allen, you're probably moving T.J. Edwards, which, again, I could definitely see them going that route. T.J. Edwards is a Matt Eberflus guy, and Dennis Allen is rebuilding this defense in his mold. And if he thinks that
I don't think T.J. Edwards is long for this world. And honestly, I think T.J. Edwards is a average to below average player, where like he not necessarily. I don't think he adds too much on the field, at least in this scheme, in my opinion.
Sure. Yeah, he was a guy that was brought in for another guy's scheme. They did sign him to a decent extension last year, but I could definitely see them moving off him.
Well, again, that's more so Ryan Pohl's mistake that he needs to clean up now. So I'm going to go with C.J. Allen. Again, you could go a number of ways with that pick.
With how this is,
with how this has fallen. I mean, if Vega could play center, that would be a walk up.
You wouldn't even hate Emmanuel McNeil Warren, but I think if
again, I'm telling you, don't be surprised if they shift Kyler Gordon back to that other safety spot and just have hyper versatile safeties between Kyler Gordon and Kobe Bryant. I could really see that happening the more I think about it.
Kyler Gordon's got health issues, though. Now I wish I could do it again. I probably would pick McNeil Warren, but CJ Allen's the pick. So,
all right, well then it's me for the Bills here, and they went with DJ Moore. They made that move. I still don't view DJ Moore as a consistent, reliable wide receiver one. I don't think he's that guy. I have a lot of questions about him that people might not think are that fair, but I think that the guy's just a little weird. I don't know. I wouldn't want him as my true blue number one wide receiver for Josh Allen, but he's going to be this year. But I think they need to start thinking about beyond that. And there's really nothing aside from Khalil Shakir, who's kind of a similar player to DJ Moore in a lot of ways. Give me a guy that's dissimilar to Shakir and DJ Moore as a wide receiver, and give me Denzel Boston. You talk about a massive target for Josh Allen to link up with in the red zone and in short yardage and eventually down the field as well. But I think that he complements what you get out of Shakir and DJ Moore. If those are going to be your top two wide receivers, give me a true X that can play on the outside and allow them to open up the middle of the field a little bit more for those shiftier guys in Moore and Shakir.
Do you think that Buffalo fans would like them spending draft capital trading for DJ Moore and drafting a receiver? I feel like they would love that personally.
I was going to say, I think that Josh Allen needs they just need to give him as much help as possible, and they've woefully failed at doing that thus far. So you've got Knox, you've got Kincaid at tight end, so you've got those positions figured out. I think at this point, just give him as many weapons as possible and watch the man work.
Yeah.
Can you pull up the edge? Who's still available for edge?
There's been a run on edge guys.
There has been a run. Yeah, this is fuck. Yeah, 49ers, dude. This one's tough. So they just got Mike Evans. They got Osa Digizua, and they brought back Dre Greenlaw. This one's difficult for me, dude. But you know what? Let's go.
They're going to be getting Michael Williams back. They're going to be getting Nick Bosa back.
Yeah,
Greg Warner's coming back.
Pull up the wide receivers for me. Let's go. You want to see something fucking crazy? Let's go fucking crazy.
There's also been a real run on wide receivers. There's almost
I know. I was really liking Omar.
Puts him in a tough spot.
I was liking Omar Cooper here, dude. This is a tough little pick we got here. And I really, you know what? No, let's just do it.
There's a Trent
I think Vega makes a ton of sense for the Niners right here.
Vega makes a ton of sense. I know. I really like Emmanuel McNeil Warren here though too, because that secondary really needs help. You know what? Yeah. Screw it. Let them all get pissed. Let's burn it all down.
Oh no.
No, I'm kidding. Give me Vega.
Okay.
I think
there was no way he makes it to the top.
I know.
You're like, it's about to make it to the Texans, and
and
Mike's getting ready to let it happen. I'm like,
I really wanted Emmanuel McNeil Warren. I was thinking to get a playmaker, get a disruptor, get a guy who could fucking intercept the ball, but no, you got Vega.
Yeah, I mean that's
Right,
hard to
well,
argue with
yeah.
at that point,
Yeah.
especially that far in the draft. Sorry,
I
Turtle,
I
for
really
how it
wanted
shakes
to
out.
No,
burn
it's
it
fine.
down.
I mean, that would just unnecessarily get my hopes up that Vega would somehow make it to pick 28. Now, if we were doing trades, I would have been trying to trade up a long time ago for Vega,
Yeah.
uh, with how far he had slidden down. Um, but in any case, now with I guess are we good with the Vega pick? We can move on to the Texans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
All right. Now with the signing of Reed Blankenship, like I mean, Emmanuel McNeil Warren would have made a ton of sense to draft, but since we signed Reed Blankenship, we kind of got safety figured out. Um, look, the holes in the offensive line are still
Mm,
largely there. Again, signing
Proctor.
Braden Smith. Braden Smith might play, end up be playing guard for you. He might end up be playing tackle. They honestly, I don't even know if the Texans know what Braden Smith is going to be playing. Um, boy, Vega would have fallen. That would have been nice.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised Proctor's fallen this far.
I was just say Caden Proctor looking real nice right here.
yeah. Listen, I'm going to go Caden Proctor. Um, look, super talented player. I'm not sure that they kind of fit the D'Amico Ryans and I mean, because Proctor's got some stuff he's got to work out. But as far as behemoth and talent, he kind of reminds me of actually somebody who's on the Texans' current roster and Trent Brown. As far as the build is concerned, like an absolute mammoth of a human being. And you have Trent Brown there to mentor. You know what? Yeah, you guys convinced me for it. Caden Proctor. Let's
That's
go. Let's go, Caden Proctor. You can slide Braden Smith into to play guard. And if you need to start Trent Brown at tackle first, you can. Once Caden Proctor's ready, he can go in and he can play right tackle for you. Or maybe left. You can play Ursary at right. Who knows? The Texans love versatility as far as talent is concerned. If Proctor makes it that far down, sure, why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah,
I think
Absolutely.
any of these other guys, I don't think really move the needle for the Texans all that much.
No.
talk
Proctor,
about a guy with high end starter upside. If he can get it all figured out, as you mentioned, there's still some development to happen, but if you can get him this late in the first round,
tools are absolutely there, dude.
oh yeah,
again, he reminds me of Trent Brown because I think Trent Brown was a similar type pick and player. I think Trent Brown was a late first when he was drafted. Again, an absolute mammoth of a human and needed to spend some time in the NFL to work out the kinks. But obviously, Trent Brown has made a long career in the NFL. Yeah, very similar players.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. If Caden Proctor was the pick at 28, I wouldn't hate it. I still think the interior needs a ton of help, but if you can move Braden Smith in and have him play guard like he did in college, and that seems to work out, you may have just solved a couple of those positions along the offensive line.
or a lot of people project Proctor at guard too. So I mean, you could flip that
He
too.
just seems like he's too tall though. Isn't Proctor like 6'7", 6'8"? Like that.
He's
You don't
huge,
see
but
a,
yeah.
yeah.
I think a lot of people have him projected as a guard too, but hey, he's got left tackle upside. I think between him and Smith, you could figure out how that configuration works and just get your best five out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I had to guess right now, I think Braden Smith's going to play guard. If I had to guess right now, but again, I think they like him because he can play both. And Braden Smith was an All-American guard in college, and really only played tackle for the Colts out of emergency, and it turned out that he was actually okay. But again, Braden Smith's one of those guys with short arms. At this point in his career, it might be better for him to play guard. So we'll see. Either way, that seems like that's a high risk, high reward pick at 28.
So right here, looking at the Chiefs. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about what they just did with trading away Trent McDuffie, and I'm thinking you shore up a trouble area. I think you could go offensive line here, go hard and heavy, fucking just go with that. But I mean, why in the hell not? I got him going Emmanuel McNeil Warren here.
Well, keep in mind, Mike. Keep in mind, we drafted at 8 overall. We already drafted Caleb Downs.
Okay. So we did draft Caleb Downs. Let's pivot then. Let's pivot because I think McNeil Warren here I think is not bad though. But
I mean, you're taking two safety. I think Chiefs fans would riot. Chiefs fans would riot in the streets if they
With
took
no
two
wide receiver
safeties-
one, taking two safeties too.
yeah, if they took two safeties in the first round, they
Yeah,
were
you know what?
absolutely right.
Then absolutely screw it. Let's get Patrick Mahomes an absolute weapon. Go
Okay,
wide.
there's not that many.
There's
There's
not
a
that
run
many
on
left.
him.
Let's pull up the wide receivers. See what
You're
we
going
still
with
got.
Bell. I mean,
Let's see what we still
Bell,
got.
these guys coming off the torn ACL.
I would not advise taking Jeremy Bernard. in the
Yeah,
first
yeah. I
round
don't think I'm taking Bell either. Fuck, dude. All right. Oh God. I mean, McNeil Warren's there, but
D line's always safe.
D line is always.
You've got a couple tackles here.
I
too.
do kind of like. I do. Yeah, I know Blake Miller step, and then the guy out of Arizona State. I really like.
You got
Nacho
Ian
Libre.
Anchor. You've got Blake Miller. Again, I think anything along the defensive line, if they want to take a risk with one of the Clemson guys, TJ Parker.
Yeah, TJ Parker. Yeah,
Spagnuolo is kind of a he's finicky about who he lets play on the edge of his defensive line.
Yeah.
When you think about a guy like Chris Jones and the build that he wants as an edge rusher, I don't know if it's worked out for him, but he certainly goes for the bigger.
You know what? In terms of what they do need and the questions that are on that offensive line, man, dude, this shit's tough. But I'll take Blake Miller. I don't think you walk away too unhappy with that. Man, that's a yucky pick.
Man, Proctor didn't get picked at 28. I think Chiefs fans would be really happy.
Absolutely.
But Blake Miller's a guy. I mean, he's an athlete. He's not necessarily a mauler in any sense of the word. He's not one of the most aggressive run blockers. But as far as technique and pass blocking, he's pretty solid in that regard. He doesn't really wow you. He doesn't. He's not a guy who's going to bully the opposing team, but he's very technically sound.
Yeah.
Could play right away. I am a bit worried about he's not the biggest, strongest guy. So I don't know if that's going to pose issues for him at the NFL level, but he's technically sound, and maybe he makes it work.
Here for the Denver Broncos, give me a beast of a fucking human being. I'm talking. Give me a guy that's going to go not massive. It's a position of need, though. Can play inside, outside, and play edge. Dude, am I crazy? Give me Keldrick Falk here.
I took Keldrick Falk about 20 picks ago.
Son of a
Mike, you got to do the draft on time.
No,
I would have been all over Keldrick Falk for the Chiefs.
I know.
We almost got through with Mike not picking somebody who's already been picked. He was so close.
Should we pull up?
No, go to defensive tackles right here because we were talking.
There's been a run on that position, Mike. Just
no, there's been a
warn
run
you.
on that position, dude.
Oh, that's interior line. Hang on.
Lee Hunter out of Texas Tech for the Denver Broncos. Someone that run stopper, fills a gap. It may not be the sexiest pick, but addresses a need. They have good pass rush. Interior defensive line is where they were getting gashed through the playoffs. That gashed them. So I see a need. I fill it.
I can see it. I respect that. It's a little high for how he's projected right now, but it's a premium position, and it's not like the Broncos have a ton of needs. They're a pretty complete team at this point.
I think it's a good defense. If you're going to find a weak spot on it, give me a dude that's going to fill a gap.
It's always safe to take a interior defensive lineman, and he has scheme versatility, gap versatility. I like a lot of what I've seen from Lee Hunter, especially as a Bears fan who's been scouting him. So, yeah, can't argue with that pick.
And I'm pretty sure this is me again.
That's also you
with the Pats. Is he still fucking there?
And then it's you with the Seahawks too.
No, I know. Yeah, I'm just rounding this thing out.
Yes, you are.
We're gonna go to wide receiver for the New England Patriots.
Okay.
Remember,
I know.
Remember, it's pretty thin there.
Don't you dare take Jeremy Bernard in the first round.
No, I know. Please, did anyone take Denzel Boston yet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
God
Yep,
damn it!
pick.
All right,
He's a Bill.
he's a Dolphin.
He's a Bill.
Okay. So here's what we're
Could use a
thinking.
right tackle.
We could use a right tackle.
There's one available.
There is one available. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at him.
Nacho Libre.
I know. I really wanted T.J. Parker here. He's still there. He's still there. What would Christian do? What would Christian do here? He would have torn this draft up like half an hour ago.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what his comments will be. But
now scroll down. You know, we're just gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Christian be damned. Give me T.J. Parker. He may not have had his best season. I think
he's up top.
What's up?
Where is he?
He's up top.
He's up top.
He's one of the top available guys.
Oh, okay.
Still
there he is.
did not have his best season last year. Absolutely not. But
Nobody on the
Clemson, yeah, no. And I mean, I think that's a guy that fits in well with what Mike Vrabel likes, and I don't think you walk away too unhappy with that. And here, Seattle Seahawks, why in the hell not? Give me Emmanuel McNeil-Warren.
Yeah. That's a walk-up pick right
there. Yeah, if he's still there, like that's an absolute
that you just lost your starting safety in free agency, so you go back and fill the need right at the end of the first round. That is stereotypical right there. All right, well, here's the draft.
How do we get graded?
Will Christian?
Yeah, give me a zoom out on this so we can get a screenshot for Christian.
He'd be like, y'all fucks don't know anything.
Oh shit.
No, he's gonna respect it. He's gonna know that he didn't know what he was talking. He didn't know what he was talking about with Messidor, and that Messidor in the top 15 is a good pick.
Keldrick, Falk, Messidor, Sadiq.
Yeah,
I think there's some surprises in here.
This run near the back end of the last 15 was crazy.
Yeah. There's always surprises, though. I mean, there's always picks that'll throw you for a loop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a handful of surprises in here that I think if we look back in April, once the draft's over, I think maybe it'll be a little bit less. Concepcion going over Jordan Tyson. That one is a little bit interesting. I guess that's all medical based, right?
It would be the main concern. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the quote unquote surprises we had, though, I could easily see happening. I mean, I could see Thielen going that high to the Bengals if they need a safety. I think the Bills essentially doubling up on wide receiver, while that may look like a surprise, I could see that happening as well.
It's not crazy.
They're just so it's so barren behind Shakir and DJ Moore on that team right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Keon Coleman, they can't even trust the guy to show up to film study on time, to not sleep through film study. So you can't bank on that. But yeah, and I think they also just need a true X receiver there. That's not named Gabe Davis.
Dude, I think one through 16 looks. I mean, that it's going to be these names, but I think just like
Messidor, I could see falling, but
yeah,
it's just how it played out for Tampa Bay that he felt like the best pick there.
You're going to absolutely love Caden McDonald there. Jordan Tyson, I think, is – I mean, Casey Concepcion going over him, and that, yeah. Ooh. I love it. Chaos.
It'd be a shocker. I'll